Nick and I had an experience where I was driving him home, and REO Speedwagon came on the radio, and he started crying and singing it at the top of his lungs. And then he said to me, this is what the movie's about. This is before we did Drive. He said it's about a guy who drives around LA listening to 80s pop music and that's about it. Now I think it's important to note that not only is that not what Drive is about, but there's not even one scene where that happens. But for whatever reason, that was like the touchstone for us. We told that story millions of times, and we would refer to it while we were working as like the tonal touchstone of the movie. So did you guys have something like that? Was there an experience or a moment where you both said this is what the film's about, and it's what you sort of kept referring to?
King of like masculinity and violence and blood and whatever. And so when I heard that, then he invited, and I was like, oh, this is so different. I didn't know the script, or I didn't read it or anything. And then he invited me over to his house in LA, and I walk in, and there's just like princess clothes everywhere, Barbies everywhere, and I'm like, what's going on? And then like Frozen, Let It Go is playing, and then his two little girls run out, and so I realized that he's just surrounded by all feminine things in his entire house. And he said that Let It Go is his favorite song, so we would sing it often.
Did the 16-year-old girl inside of Nick ever borrow your clothes? And if so, did he return them? You don't have to answer that. When Nick and I that's when you first met?
Well, I think when we first met, we did talk about this, and I think that I'd never worked so closely with someone before. We really it felt like very much like a team. I'd never had that much freedom to try things as much, because I don't know if you felt like that, but because we filmed in sequence, we were constantly just changing things all the time. And I would, in the mornings, he'd be like, what do you want to do? And that just, I don't know, I felt like I had, there was this weird power that came with it, because it was all instinctual and very spontaneous. And halfway through filming, Nick came and was like, I don't like the way our movie ends, and he threw it away. And so we had to find a new ending, and we completely redid it. So it was constantly spontaneous.
You shot this chronologically as well?
Yes.
How much did it change from the original?
A lot. It had to do with the necrophilia scene.
So I guess let's talk about that, all right?
So the necrophilia scene was shot here. And
are you cheering for necrophilia, or that it was shot here? Don't answer that.
And it was the only sequence that I couldn't do out of order because it was too expensive for me to shoot it later on, because I wanted to shoot in a real morgue. And Jenna Malone, who plays Ruby, Jenna Malone. She had a baby, by the way. And I'd written that she was just going to kiss the corpse. So we were setting it up, and I'd hired an X-rated actress to lie on the floor, or on the thingy. And so I'm sitting behind camera, got music, like we did on Drive going on. Whenever you're ready, Jenna, and you just kiss the corpse, and it was kind of like the second scene I'd done with Jenna, so I didn't really know her very well. And she bends over and she kisses the corpse, and I suddenly get this instinct. And I go, can you spit in her mouth? And she does. And I go, can you touch her? She does. And can I get more saliva on her nipples as you move up to her chin? No, do that again, and then make sure the saliva, over her mouth again. And
Yeah, what's the point of the story? So just, 'cause we saw it, so. Is there an insight here to this, or you're just gonna take us through every goddamn...
anyway, that was a great scene, and we found the character, and it was so good that I decided to make the movie about Jenna and Elle. So it means the second half had to change. And that changed the film radically because it became the essence.
So interesting, because in a film, and especially with your level of control and auteurship, it could be anything, right? I mean, you could have written a scene where Elle finds a dog that's a great singer. You could have written a scene where one of the characters discovers that if you pour milk on a rock, it tastes like cake. You can do anything you want, and yet with that kind of control, you went, no, necrophilia. That's what I'm gonna do. I can do anything, I'm gonna do necrophilia. Why?
Well, I think that it had to do with that 16-year-old girl.
You're blaming her for a lot of things, honestly.
I just thought it was kind of exciting. I mean, not physically, but more like there was just something really interesting about sex and death. It goes to the opening scene, which is all about death and beauty.
Nice, this leads me in nicely to a question.